Mr. Hardayal Prasad, the MD and CEO at SBI Cards. Thanks so much for joining us, Mr. Prasad. Now, it's such a unique proposition. What are some of the factors, according to you, that really set this IPO apart?
We are a pure play credit card company. We are the number one pure play credit card company. We are very unique in the way we do business. Our distribution network that has been set up in the last about 20 years of business that we have been doing is geared towards the open market, where we source applications from people who are walking in airports, railway stations, malls, kiosk setting up is there. So that's one is that distribution network is extremely strong for us. That sets us apart, because all other players that are there today in the industry, all issuers of credit card, are within the bank and they issue credit cards only, most of them to their own customers. What we have also done is in 2017, when we entered into a relationship with SBI, we started looking at the database of SBI. So we have actually completed a complete suite of products that we offer. We have open market, we have co-brand, we have corporate, and we have now the banca channel that is working. I think that sets us apart in terms of the way we do business.
Okay. SBI Cards has managed better growth than the industry. What are some of the factors that have enabled that?
One of the reasons is that we always were a strong open market player. However, in 2017, when we entered the relationship with SBI, so we started looking at it. We have already looked in the last 24 months. We have looked at 16 to 18 million database of SBI, and we have carded 2.1 million customers. I think both these put together have fueled the growth that you are seeing today. And as we go forward, we will continue to look at the SBI base. So the banca becomes a very strong carding base for us. And the second thing that happens is that the open market also contributes significantly towards our growth story. I think that's one of the reasons of showing the growth, which is slightly better than the industry that you look at.
Right. Sourcing of customers will change from metro to tier 2 and 3. What kind of impact would this have on your earnings?
After the demonetization, obviously, there were a large number of digital products that came to the market. And the aspirations of the people who were sitting and they could start transacting from anywhere sitting in India, that contributed towards the shift that you see from the metro to the tier 1 and tier 2 cities. After we also entered the relationship with State Bank of India with such powerful franchisee sitting in tier 2 and tier 3 city of SBI and the vast reach that they have, we started penetrating over there. Once we penetrated over there, we also actually ensured that our open market operations move into tier 2 and tier 3 city. Now, all these things put together have actually resulted into almost 58% of our sourcing today coming from tier 2 and tier 3 city. I think today that's where the growth lies, and every company today is concentrating in bringing tier 2 and 3 customers to the banking, not only the financial inclusion part that you look at it, but all the digital part that one is looking at it. I think that's where the growth story is coming from.
Right. SBI Cards is getting a very high valuation, given that all your supporting metrics are also indicating towards more of an expensive valuation. Do you see any risk here, though?
What we have done is that we have performed very, very consistently in terms of top line and in terms of bottom line. Both of things we have ensured that we have very, very consistent performance as against some kind of a one-off performance than one would see. If you look at our ROA and ROE, since 2017 we have been consistent at 4% and 28%. Going forward, we will ensure that these things are taken care of, because it's all a question of the kind of products that you have, the kind of servicing that you do, the kind of infrastructure that you have, the distribution network that you have, the kind of offers that you bring, the way you look at the portfolio in terms of the risk sitting over there, and how do you encash and leverage what is happening today in India in terms of not only the tier 2 and tier 3 that we just spoke about, but overall the e-commerce boom, the increase in the POS terminals, all this will continue to provide huge amount of uplift to any digital product. And SBI credit card has been able to leverage this strength and grown at a faster pace.
And if we do see SBI growing at the same rate for 2 years, can the market cap be the same as the bank? What does this do to the overall banking environment, according to you?
I don't want to give any guidance what the valuation would be or where it would take SBI Card to a different level or where. But well, actually, if you have all the pieces working, if you have stacked up everything pretty well in terms of the distribution network, in terms of the networks that you work with, in terms of the IT stacks that you have, the new age technologies that you have, if you bring in the cost to income ratio lower down continuously, if the shareholder and the customer both realize that what you are doing is far superior in terms of the competition products, I think that is what is more important for the company, and that is going to help the company to continue to grow. I think we are looking at those kind of things to bring value to the customer, instead of saying that, okay, I'm going to do this, the valuation will go at this level. Those are some of the things that are not actually in the mind at this stage.
And can you tell us about the relationship with SBI and how it helps with customer acquisition?
In 2017, we entered that relationship with SBI, with the tripartite agreement with SBI, CIBIL and SBI Card. And SBI mines its data. It looks at, after discussions with that, it looks at different portfolio that it has. For example, home loan, ATM transactions, personal loan, auto loans. They will look at all their portfolio and they cull out data, which is then sent to CIBIL for looking at the delinquency and other part. That data is then pushed to our risk engines for giving an in-principle approval. Now, this in-principle approval, once it goes back to SBI, these accounts, they are pushed to the branches for carding purposes. And there, once the account sits on the dashboards of the branches, they call the customers and seek their consent either through a written or through an OTP measure. Once he agrees for a carding purposes, this is handed over to a sales team sitting over there, and we start the fulfillment process. I think this relationship is very strong, with State Bank of India having almost 434 million customers. In our opinion, 200 million are the addressable customers that we look to. So going forward with such a huge base, I think we will continue to work on similar lines, not only with SBI, but also the 9 banks that we work with. I think we should become a dominant player in terms of our business profiling that we do.
Sure. Is Carlyle an activist investor, and what will they continue to do going forward?
Carlyle is an investor. They are on the board. They'll continue to sit on the board even after the offer for sale of 10%. They still will hold about 10%. And as per the regulations, they are going to continue to be there with us for another year at least. What Carlyle does is they brings a lot of experience in terms of their various business verticals within India and across the globe, where they would have invested, and they bring some good practices that are there. So they review with us and they try and help us out in terms of the way the business can be done. I think their role is also critical from our perspective. But at the end of the day, Carlyle also firmly believes that the business has to be left to the management to do it. If there are things and there are best practices across the globe or India, I think that's one thing that one must always look at. And we also look at it, that what is the best practice in State Bank of India, which is one of the stakeholders, what is the best practices that Carlyle can offer, and we put these together and juxtapose it with the solid management that we have to come out with a far superior propositions for anyone in the market. I think that's the major role that both the stakeholders play, and Carlyle obviously does that pretty well in terms of that.